So ADHD stands for what? Attention deficit
hyperactivity disorder.
So attention, like to me, what it sounds to me is like you have hyper attention, hyper focus. Where you can. So why is it called attention deficit when it's actually hyper? Like, what is that about?
Well, I mean, again, ADHD, and you mentioned this before. ADHD is a spectrum, right? So like, there's some things that some people struggle with from an ADHD perspective that I don't, and vice versa. Like for example, like sometimes people with ADHD will either interrupt often, right, when somebody's talking, or they'll finish the person's sentences, like little things like that that I don't struggle with. Like I don't have that problem. However, another example in regards to like the hyperactivity, sometimes people can't sit still.
Right.
Right. They just can't, like, they can't sit down to like watch a movie without being like, and getting all fidgety. Right. Like I have my fidget toys, but it's not because I can't sit still. It's because it's a thing called stimming, where I'm able to, if I'm have something in my hands, it actually helps me focus on whatever it is that I'm doing. Right. In this case, having a conversation with you. Sometimes if it's, doing, maybe it's like watching a seminar or a webinar, right? I'll be stimming. Otherwise my brain's just going to go elsewhere. So if I keep my brain preoccupied with something in my hands, I'm good, so it's different for everybody. And we're also still discovering a lot with it, because a lot of the initial research when it came to ADHD was done by white males, so how ADHD affects women is still being researched, how it affects the LGBTQ plus community, how it affects people of color. That's all still being discovered, because usually when you think ADHD, you think of like little boys not being able to sit still. Usually, like typically that's what you think, but it's a lot deeper than that, especially for women, because ADHD affects women completely different. It's a lot more internal than external. With boys, it's really easy to see. With women, it's not.
Well, give me an example. Give me an example of something, how it manifests like in females and not
sure.
Like males.
So with little boys, it's really easy to say, oh, he probably has ADHD because they are legitimately hyper, right? Like they'll like be in class and they'll just be all over the place, hype like that. That's not hyperactivity.
But
right?
what's the flip side of that of saying, no, he's just a boy. He's just running around. He's just a kid.
And that's the struggle. And that's why, it's really tough, because it's hard to say, oh, that's just a boy. That's just a boy being a boy, because like, why is that? Like being a boy isn't the reason why he's hyper. He's hyper because he has ADHD, or it might be something else. It might be a trauma response. It might be whatever. So it's never just like, oh, it's just a boy being a boy. No, there's something deeper there. You don't have things just because you're a boy, right? And so like it's a lot more external with boys. With girls, particularly, you'll find a lot of older women are being diagnosed nowadays as well, because it's a lot more internal. So that hyperactivity, it's not a physical manifestation, it's internal. So like that physical like movement that you'll see in boys, that's still happening, but it's a lot more in here. It's a lot more in the brain. So it's harder for women and little girls to focus sometimes, because it's just like they're hyper, but just internally. But that, how can you even see that? How can you recognize that? And that's hard. And that's why like a lot of the research, it's still fairly new. And that's why a lot of people think that this is a trend, or that, ADHD didn't exist when I was around, when I was a kid. No, it did. It's just we didn't understand it.
Tell me, what is existential OCD? What is that? That one is interesting. Like that one caught my eye. What is that?
Yeah, existential OCD. I didn't even know this was a thing. I was describing what I'm about to describe to you to my therapist, and my therapist was like, "Have you ever heard of existential OCD?" I was like, "No," and she was like, "I think that's what you have." And then we went on. So I'm gonna describe what it is by describing what happened to me. My mom lives about like 30 minutes north of where I live. And so about like once or twice a week, I'll go visit my mom, because again, my parents are divorced. My mom just lives by herself at in my childhood home. I'll go to visit her, and it's pretty much the same thing every time. Like when I go to leave, like I'll give her a hug, I'll be like, "Hey, I love you." and then I'll get my car. And when I get my car, she'll watch me go to the car, and then she'll close the door and turn off the porch light and then go about her business, and I'll drive away. Right. But there was this one day when I was saying goodbye to her, and I felt as though I gave her a hug, but I felt as though the hug was tighter and it lasted a little bit longer than normal. Right. And I was like, interesting. Right. And then I walked to my car and everything was normal. She was watching me get to my car, got in the car, but she didn't close the door. She just was standing there watching me. And so I just see this silhouette of my mom in the doorway. And I'm like,
yeah,
what is happening? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Driving home for 30 minutes, I'm just spiraling. Cause in my head, I'm thinking,
that's it.
Oh, that's fate's way of saying that was the last time you see your mom.
Yeah.
That's the last time. And it was just right, started spiraling. Now, mind you, I've seen my mom 85 times since then, right?
Yeah.
But I allowed myself to spiral because of those little things.
Yeah.
That's existential OCD. When you allow yourself to spiral to a point where you're just manic because of little things that have happened, then you start to get in your head and you just you just lose it. It starts to hit you where it's well, what's the point of life? If my mom goes, then what? Or if I die, what does that mean for my mom? My mom spent her whole life raising me. My dad, I'm my dad's only son. If I die, what's my dad gonna do? He worked his whole life for me, and if I'm gone, that's what I was allowing myself to spiral to, and it threw off the rest of my day.
So that was an excerpt for one of our Guts episodes. If you want to see the full episode, check it out on YouTube or listen on any of your preferred platforms. Please join me on this journey that we're calling Guts, or Getting Under the Skin.